I will call our, did you unmute as well? Good job. I will call us to order at 5:32. And if you will all rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
And Mrs. Turley, roll call, please.
Dr. Guy Archambault,
Yes, here.
Ms. Emily Hunt Daly,
Don't see her yet.
Mr. Walter Jaramillo,
Here.
Mr. Ron Ortiz,
Here.
Ms. Francis Lee.
Present. We do indeed have a quorum. Adoption of the agenda for May 6th, 2025. Are there any changes? I'm actually going to suggest a change that we strike item F, which is the first read board policies. Board members, are there any other changes? All right, Superintendent Widener, do you have a recommendation, sir?
Madam President, I recommend that we approve the agenda as amended.
Excellent. Board members, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended, striking item F under presentations? And a second, please.
No second.
Thank you, sirs. It has been moved by Mr. Jaramillo and seconded by Mr. Ortiz to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion, board members. Hearing none, we shall proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Sandoval. I'm so sorry. That was habit, wasn't it?
You're okay.
Mrs. Turley, I
Dr.
apologize.
Guy Archambault,
Yes.
do I call for Emily? No, okay,
Not till we see her.
okay. Mr. Walter Jaramillo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee.
Aye, motion carries. Next is adoption of minutes for the April 17th meeting. Board members, are there any amendments to the minutes? If so, what? All right, Superintendent Widener, a recommendation, sir.
I recommend that we approve the minutes of the meeting from April 17th.
All right, board members, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Mr. Ortiz and seconded by Mr. Jaramillo to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion, board members? Hearing none, we shall proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Turley, please.
Dr. Guy Archambault,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee.
Aye, the motion carries. Next is citizens to address the board. Mrs. Turley, are there any citizens to address the board this evening?
No.
There are no citizens. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Widener, the good part of the night, for sure. Recognition.
It's always good to see that these people are not here to address the board, right? For those of us watching us online, we have a really big crowd here tonight. It's because it is our monthly meeting where we get to recognize outstanding students and leaders and folks in our schools who are doing a great job. Tonight, we're going to be recognizing our SEL plaque recipients. These are monthly plaques that we present to different individuals. They're nominated by their peers. I open it up and let people nominate folks. So our first SEL plaque recipient goes to our principal at Grants High School, who is being recognized for hosting events, for doing lots of great community things and having lots of things happening at GHS. We want to recognize her and thank her for all of the social, emotional love that she is sharing with the population and the student body at Grants High School. And so without further ado, tonight's first SEL plaque goes to Mrs. Stevie Elkins. Congratulations.
Thank you. Gonna try and turn this all the way around.
Your guys want to come on?
Fly a drone now.
President want to come on?
Yeah, this is her. They're not moving. Ready?
Axel's the most important one anyway.
Sorry, we're standing.
Oh,
in-
you're fine. You guys are just in the picture. And all the photos. Okay, sorry.
Boy, girl, boy, girl, boy.
Sure.
Take the plaque and go stand where you were again so that the camera is on you for the presentation.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you, sir.
Our second SEL recipient is being recognized. She works in the front office at Los Alamitos Middle School and is that great smiling face. She's the caring person that comes in and greets the population as they come into Los Alamitos. She's a wonderful employee and we want to recognize her with a social emotional love plaque tonight because of everything that she does. So without further ado, our second SEL recipient tonight is Miss Lorenza Martinez. Let's find her. We're hiding in the back.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes.
Your principal, your family?
No, my principal's here though.
Your principal, perfect.
Thank you guys, thank you, I appreciate it.
It's also time that we give our Edu Champion Award. And tonight we're recognizing an Edu Champion in the district who is the outstanding individual who brought Kinderfest to the Grants Cibola County School District. Board members, if you've been to Kinderfest, it's quite the event. It's kindergartners from all around the districts coming, they come and they present their talents. And so they participate in coloring, they do poetry, they do singing, they do dancing, and they really highlight their talents. And so tonight's recipient is being recognized because she brought that here. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to present our Edu Champion Award to Miss Isa de los Santos. And then you have to like muscle. Kinderfest. Okay, ready? And you have to flex. Is your family here? Your principals?
My co-teachers are
Your co-teachers, they should come up to you. But you can stay home with your husband. Your co-teachers, come on up.
That's okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna ask Mr. Jaramillo, the athletic director at Grants High School, to join me. Tonight, we want to recognize the outstanding students who competed in the state championship powerlifting. We want to recognize individuals as well as teammates that participated. So without further ado, Mr. Jaramillo, come up. They're probably not in order. Savannah Ortiz here. Yeah, come on up, Savannah.
So Savannah was the state champion in her weight class, so she won the state championship. Olivia is also the state championship in her division, so she's.
He's there.
The next state champion is Gary Chavez. These are the 3 state champions from Grants High School.
Yeah, will that work?
Yes.
Perfect. Come on over here, we'll stand by the board.
Or is it?
Can you see Mr. Jaramillo?
Yeah.
Savannah, scoot that way just a little bit.
You want Gary to come closer to me?
Gary, no, back that way. Okay, right there. Take the sucker out of your mouth, Gary.
Oh,
Just right there. There you go.
You got it.
There you go.
I would just hold it at the end, Gary. There, at the bottom. That way it's not got
I thought you meant like the actual.
No.
Congratulations, guys.
Good job, guys.
So now,
Now we want to recognize teamwork.
the team of the girls powerlifting.
Okay.
So they placed 3rd in the state, so they brought home a green trophy, a green state championship trophy for placing 3rd. So the entire girls team, so. Travis.
How do you say your complete?
Show you, it's a.
I would have said it right.
Dakota Bellman.
Dakota?
Eric Royale.
Getting everybody.
And Mark, oh, is that all? Good. And then we do have certificates for the boys as well. Marshall Burris. Emilio Soberanes. Martinez. Big picture. And the powerlifting coaches are here as well, so that's Josh Pacheco, and Jolene Pettis. Try this one out.
I'll go with this window. You sign that. Here we go. Got it.
Yeah, at least
Or a
something.
shoulder.
Job, guys.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
Sorry.
Very well.
Come on here. Come on.
Oh, yay. Again. Ready? Making sure you have many options for your newsletter.
And finally, we are going to recognize our outstanding students who did a great job in the state science fair and will move on to compete and do more in the international national science fair. So I would like to call up Mr. Cody Hayes and Mr. Shelby Alexander to come present our state winners.
Start going. Let's see here. From the junior division, from Cubero Elementary, we had Jace Ontiveros, who was awarded second place in robotics software technology. And Talia Salas for mapping Ozobot's journey for mathematics. And a big thank as well to Miss Maya Moore Flores for guiding and mentoring those students, as well as helping out as a chaperone on the trip. From Mesa View Elementary, sponsored by Mr. Wanda Vargas, we had Clark Rivera, who had an honorable mention in engineering technology and received the Teresa Johnson Award for the outstanding project in earth and planetary sciences. We also had Iro Chavez, who was in engineering, environmental, and mechanical. From Milan Elementary, sponsored by Mr. Sayat, we had Riley Sanchez, who was first place in animal science and microbiology and received a special award for the CO2 greenhouse gas emissions prize and the ASM International Award. We had Alexia Height, who placed third place in ocean learning science. And also competing was Joseph Nanez, who competed in computer science and received a special award for CO2 greenhouse gas emissions. From Mount Taylor Elementary, sponsored by Miss Rory Montoya, we have Emma Baca, honorable mention in biomedical sciences, and the CO2 greenhouse gas award. We had Charlotte Waterbury, who won the CO2 greenhouse gas award. And she was in plant sciences, yes. In third place in physics and astronomy went to Mariah Marquez, also of Mount Taylor. From San Rafael Elementary, we have, sponsored by Miss Janae Chavez, we had Mabel Campagon, who was an honorable mention in statistics and dynamics. From Los Alamitos Middle School, sponsored by Ms. Catherine Habecker, who took on the responsibility for basically all the students over at Lambs. We had Celeste Hunter, who took first place in behavioral and social. Also competing was Emily Gonzalez. Receiving first place in biomedical health sciences, the special award for Rose Baca Rivet, the third place in the New Mexico JAS paper competition for her paper planaria and weight loss drugs, GLP-1s, was Emma Munson. Also competing at state in mathematics was Kayla Venable. Receiving second place in chemistry and biochemistry and special awards for the New Mexico Network for Women in Science and Engineering, we have Madison Stevens. Receiving first place in chemistry and biochemistry and a special award for the CO2 Greenhouse Gas Award was Sebastian Griego. Competing in physics and astronomy, we had Ian Villegas. Exhibiting in plant sciences and microbiology, receiving special awards in CO2 greenhouse gas and the Office of Naval Research, we have Rhiannon Patel. And then from St. Teresa's Middle School, being sponsored by Mr. Alexander here, we had exhibiting in animal science was Karina Rodriguez. Receiving third place in engineering technology was Nathaniel Sandoval. Receiving first place in plant science and microbiology, as well as fourth place in the NMJAS paper competition was Lucas Rickner. Additionally, Emma Baca, Charlotte Waterbury, and Sebastian Griego were awarded as outstanding projects for the Thermo Fisher Innovators Challenge nomination. And then for the second year in a row, coming from Grant Cibola County Schools, was your division, junior division grand award winner in the life sciences. And that went this year to Lucas Rigner. All right. And then on the senior division side of things, see here, representing these students representing Grants High School. First off was the Anthony Ortiz Award, a special award awarded to the team of Jaden Carwile and Peyton Dimmitt from Grants High School. Gas Reduction Award was awarded to Mackenzie Hunter, Alexandria Pasamonte, Lance Garcia, and Sophia Romasanta as a team, and Lucas Colburn. Additionally, Lucas Colburn and Ryan Tortolito were awarded the Society for In Vitro Biology Award. Riley Burris was recognized by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Agency, right? Did I get it right? Awesome. Lucas and Ryan were also awarded by the New Mexico Bureau of Geology for excellence in geoscience. Recognized by the American Statistical Association for the best use of statistics was Jenna Chavez. Then for our placing awards in the animal sciences, cellular, and microbiology, in third place we had Mackenzie Hunter. We had Isabella Halley. Behavioral and social sciences, Jaden Carwile and Pete Dimmitt, that team was awarded an honorable mention. Lance Garcia and Sophia Romasanta, their team was awarded third place in behavioral and social. Second place in chemistry was Joel Small. receiving an honorable mention in Earth and Environmental Sciences was the team of Gary Chavez and Joseph Martinez. And in first place in environmental science was the team of Lucas Colburn and Ryan Tortolita. Additionally, final category here is engineering technology, where Kaylee Neff was awarded third place. I'd like to acknowledge the other students who participated in the state fair as well. From the early college high school, we had Isabella Jock, Harry Lee III, Johan Cornejo, Zach Balgus, and Sonny Luis. And Grants High School also competing at state were Hannah Pearl, Miriam Diaz, and Linda Lou Armijo.
I'd like to say a couple of things. Number one, we had a lot of participation from elementary school this year, and I think it's good. We've been concentrating, working with the elementary teachers to get them more involved with their students. The elementary students did really well. We also, first time in a long time, we had 5 students in junior division that were first place projects. That means they were 5 of them were the best projects in the state of New Mexico. And we're talking about basically around 1,000 to 1,200 students that competed overall from start to finish this year. We had Lucas Rickner, who like Harry Lee last year, won the Life Sciences Division Grand Award, and he did an excellent job. We should be proud of what all these students have achieved. We did a really good job with the high school, and we just need to keep working on it, and we'll be back to what we used to be, and we've always been pretty strong in science. We've done really well across all the competitions, and we're proud of what the students have achieved. I think 7 of them that have an opportunity to participate in the thermal vision competition. That's a competition that will keep their research paper.
Real
Good
job, guys.
And they submitted
So glad you all could
they
be here.
select a map, 300 students. They select.
If you're real tall, take a knee.
State science fair, you have a real lot.
You're not too tall. Yeah. Not yet.
Select out of the 300, they select 30. They have a big opportunity.
Right.
Lucas, you better smile.
Including the elementary kids.
I was gonna say here.
Guy, you can fit right here in this corner.
Come over here, Ron.
Guy.
We're so proud of you guys. All of you.
Miss C.
Stand here. Okay.
Come on, Miss Habiger. No hiding. Come on, Mr. Maskell. How are you, sir?
Okay, everybody look this way.
We're so proud of all of you.
Good job, Mr. Alexander. Cody. It's really
Thank you
good.
so much, as always.
Good to see you.
Right? Everybody, you know. Mr. Alexander, would you mind before you leave telling everybody who the ISAC JSF qualifiers and alternates, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, just so you know, before everybody leaves, on Saturday, we go to the International Science Fair, which this year is gonna be held in Columbus, Ohio. The two students, two projects that are being represented, Lucas Colbert and Ryan Portalita. They have their project where they're working on mushrooms, breaking down some plastics, decomposing stuff in the environment. The other exhibitor is Mackenzie. She wasn't here tonight. But her project is she's looking at finding ways to about microplastics in the environment. And then we have another student going, Joel Small, who's in chemistry, and he got second place at state, did really well.
Amazing.
And then we also have another student that's in, I think, astronomy and physics, and program. So we're really proud of what those students have done this year, and I think they have a good chance to do well.
Excellent.
And I appreciate everything you guys have done and all the support we've got all year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's very exciting that we've got kiddos going.
That was quite the crowd.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah, right, we're done.
President Lee, that does conclude our recognitions tonight.
Excellent. Now we're moving on to presentations and action items.
Our first presentation tonight comes from the GHS girls basketball team. They are traveling to a camp this summer, and of course, they need board approval to go overnight and out of state. So I would like to turn the floor over to Coach Mandagaran and Mr. Jaramillo.
Good evening, board president, members of the board, Superintendent Widener. Thank you for the opportunity tonight to speak with you. We are asking for permission for our Lady Pirate basketball team to travel out of state to Colorado to attend a summer basketball camp. Again, this camp is gonna provide our student athletes with the exposure to other teams outside of New Mexico, and also give them an opportunity to play at a higher level while developing the skills that they need over summer programming. So again, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our head coach of the program, Jessie, and she can elaborate more on the camp and the funding that we're going to use to get our kids there.
Hi, this will be my second year coaching the girls basketball team. We had a fairly good first year, but now that we have some legs under ourselves, we have some fundraising that we've raised. I wanna expose the girls to what's the next step, you know, not just to dream, but teach them, put them in more in a realistic state. So Adams State does offer room and board, so they get like a collegiate experience. They get to stay on campus and we get to go do team camps. I will be present, I will be on site. Parents will be able to transport the kids going and coming. And again, it's the fundraising from our GHS girls basketball fundraising camp. And you might ask why not in New Mexico? Unfortunately, the colleges here don't offer that kind of realistic on-campus experience, so.
This time we do stand for any questions.
Board members, questions? What are the dates?
16 having it,
June,
6/14.
middle of June, June 13th through that weekend.
Perfect.
President Lee, they have raised their own funds, and so they just need permission.
So we're using fundraised funds to pay for the team camp, and then the parents of the athletes will transport the girls to Adams State. And then after the weekend's over, they will transport them back.
Very good. Any other questions right now, board members? This will lead us to our action item.
I've seen girls play.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And I've also seen them play, and I think they'll like that opportunity also.
Very good. All right, board members, we'll move right to our action item. Consideration of approval for the Grants High School girls basketball out-of-state travel to Colorado for camp this summer. Superintendent Widener.
President Lee, I recommend that we approve to send them on this trip.
Wonderful. Board members, is there a motion to approve the GH girls basketball out-of-state travel to Colorado for camp?
So moved.
I'm gonna give it to Walter on this one. It has been moved by Mr. Hadamio and seconded by Dr. Archambault to approve the GH girls basketball out-of-state travel to Colorado for camp. Any discussion, board members? Hearing none, we shall proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Turley, please.
Dr. Guy Archambault,
Yes.
Ms. Emily Hunt Daly,
Yes. Yes, you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hadamio,
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Lee.
Aye, the motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll look
Thank you
forward
for your
to hearing how the
dedication to
kids did.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
President Lee, now we are going to have, we are in the heat of graduation season. And so we have our graduation starting this Friday. And so I've asked our principals to come and kind of report out how many they're graduating, their numbers, and kind of give you an update on their events. So I would like to turn the floor over to Ms. Coles, Mrs. Elkins, and Mr. Sanchez.
Welcome, principals.
You have our presentation.
Presentation?
Dr. Martin was snoozing on the job.
He's thinking about all that science
That was a lot of students.
That's good.
and very
That's amazing.
complex topics.
Yes.
Just a minute.
Future topics.
You don't have it?
Esto le mi ala.
Oh.
Esteban.
I have his number. Super smart. He's closer.
Mrs. Elkins, what time do you need to be?
That's 7.
At 7, okay.
Well, we'll be out of here quick, right? After our great meeting last week. Now we just hear numbers.
Yeah, you guys just met with them 4 days ago.
So quick. Here we go. If you want to push that board so it's easier for you all to. You can see over there, I can't see.
Which one do you want to dispose?
Flat.
Perfect, perfect. I can go ahead and report early college cohort 2024, 0, early graduates 1, life skills 0.
Do you want us to go by school? Do you want it,
I
would
can
you
go-
prefer us?
Just slide by slide.
I
Each
can
slide has
always-
all of us, which you really do, like.
Well,
Doesn't matter if you guys want to go by school and just kind of,
Okay, I can do that too. I have 10 graduates. 6 are receiving their associate's degree and 2, one child is getting 2 associate's degree out of those 6. They're all graduating. I have 1 Acoma, 1 Laguna, and 1 Navajo. And we have graduation on Friday the 9th. And you all are welcome.
at 10 a.m., right?
Hmm.
10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
Will you slide me back up? So we've had a little change in student enrollment because we have had to have those hard conversations with some of them, and one student in particular, since the last time we spoke, has opted to go ahead and disenroll and get a GED. So you'll see a slight change in the numbers, but everything is reflective accurately. We also had one of our early graduates decide that it was just a little more strenuous than she was prepared for, so she's gonna go ahead and take a step back and graduate with her cohort. So you'll see a little change from the previous presentation in that way. And so all of my demographic numbers are representative of those changes, those very slight changes. Like I said, I had one and she basically just stopped coming. And so we were calling, searching, looking like what's going on. And so she made that choice. And then, like I said, one of the early graduates, which won't count towards this cohort anyways, has decided that she's gonna go ahead and just graduate with her own cohort. And like I said, those two are reflective in that number. And then if you just go to my current rates, if you wanna see that demographic wise, you'll see that reflected in your presentation. If you'll just slide down that. So, this is current. I do expect those 8 students to finish up by Friday, and to move up. And then I still do have 4 students who are highly likely to, 2 of them finish over the summer, 2 of them finish probably next school year. And then you'll see if you scroll down, I think one more, Dr. Martin, you'll see one more. You'll see that reflective here. And so that 0, we want to see that 0 across those 2, credit recovery and possible retention. Like I said, I do expect for the credit recovery students to complete their credit recovery and to be done and passing by this Friday. And as mentioned, those 4, and we talked about those 4 late in the game senior transfers, 2 of them. And then 2 that are just drastically behind and have been behind this entire time. So that's my names and numbers. So I'll let you
President, board members. So the only thing that's changed for us, we had 53 students the last time I reported to you. The one student that I reported that was in and out has decided to go get his GED, so we're down to 52. I think he left us about 4 months ago. We finally had to go find him, and then when we found him, he just decided to get a GED. So we have 52 students that are graduating, but we still have a couple that are on that. We're just kind of pushing along, but they're gonna make it. We just have to keep putting that fire underneath them. Other than that, not much else has changed. We have the one student that we lost was a Laguna student, so our ACMA numbers are still consistent as well as the other demographics. So we just basically lost one student, but he's gonna get a GED, and we are helping him with that to make sure he gets the classes that he needs and at least letting him finish where he needs to finish. Okay, graduation. Remember the time change from 10 a.m. to 9. So make sure you get that. You should be getting your invitations if you have not gotten it already. Okay, that's it. See you guys. Hours left, 2 weeks.
Saturday morning at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Yeah, change last year was 10 o'clock. Make sure you get the right time.
And Mrs. Elkins, your Friday night
Friday
at,
night at 6, and your invitation should be.
we got it today.
All right.
We got it today.
Okay, yes, yeah, so we got lots going on, but.
And you're headed now to senior mass for
We are.
Pirates.
Any questions on numbers, board members? We can get through this in 45 minutes, you bet. Thank you very much, principals.
Thank you, principals.
Neat.
Well, I did it with my 4
Ready?
boys.
Okay, our next presentation is Mr. Jones. He, as you all know, he did a stakeholder survey and had over 850 responses, I think. And I asked him to come and report on that and talk about what the budget priorities are.
Perfect. So, the nitty gritty, the details, the responses to the survey is in your board packet. It has been shared. So, state legislature basically states that LEAs, schools must have stakeholder feedback when forming their budget. Historically, that has looked like one 1-hour meeting that was a slideshow that piggybacked off of another meeting. I'm a rule follower, and if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it right. So we had 2 in-person events, one at Cabero Elementary School, one at Blue Water Elementary School, in addition to a meeting that we shared with Title VI, and we sent this survey. So we have 811 responses to this survey. The survey is very, very telling, and it has created a number of discussions from these results. For example, food service is the #1 most commented topic from the budget. So as you know, we have a contract with a food service provider. That has made us look at this contract a little bit closer and see what the expectations are and what is spelled out in those things, because our students, which is the largest group of people that responded to this survey, are displeased. Additionally, I think it's extremely telling which sites have the best relationships with their staff and their students, as one of our smaller campuses had the highest number of people that responded, which I'm always super appreciative of for those administrators. I wanna touch also, just really quick, in terms of the budget. One of the things that was really polarizing was staff and teacher training. It was ranked first, the second most amount, but ranked last the most amount, if that makes sense. So there's a huge U shape. Staff training is either everybody's first priority or everybody's last priority. So it does an inverted bell when you look at the data. So that's something that we have looked at, and we have looked at what resources are we providing to our staff, because again, when you look at students filling out this form, they might be like, forget the staff, we need new laptops or we need better buses or whatever it is. So I will say this as well, and not to get too off topic. The school finance department in Santa Fe is about 50% staffed currently. So our documentation that we need to build the budget is trickling in, and because of that, we have been granted extension past our due date with the budget. So the largest portion of our budget, as you know, is salaries. Our salary schedules are all but finished. Once those are complete, I will assign them by site and present that to the board. That's really the bulk of our budget, and the board members will be able to see what FTEs are at what sites according to the needs of the students, because everything that we do is tied to a student need when it comes to the money. So that will be the next deliverable that you get from me. I think that the survey has been very, very eye-opening. Our stakeholders, our people are flattered and relieved that they have been polled in terms of how we spend. And it's kind of changed the way that the things have felt within our community. So I'm really grateful for our community for doing that, and also for the board support in getting this out and getting it published. I will pass on a comment that we received from the state that this is kind of the new standard, that these budget analysts will be asking for school districts to do surveys that are written the right way to get feedback, because you just don't know what you don't know. I'm prepared for questions, if there be any.
Board members.
I'm trying to understand it.
Okay.
Staff teacher training. Explain that to me again.
So
Coding.
sure. So the way that the ranking works is you're able to rank first, second, third, fourth, and so on. So what you're looking at with the staff and teacher training is there was a large portion of people that marked it as first, because the blue line is the first. So there was a lot that ranked it first, but the majority of people ranked it last. So you had a bunch of people thinking it's really important and a bunch of people thinking that it's not important at all. which I think is really telling. It's the only category that is, the data reads that way, which there's somewhat of a flaw in this method. And that method is that you're polling students and staff, and those two things don't necessarily align. So when sharing this with my father, he said this is totally flawed, because if I was a junior at Grants High School, I would say field trips and sports and, you know, all of these things that are student led. I would really I couldn't care less about what my teachers were doing, because I was going to school for the girls and for the experience rather than the training. But if you're an employee and you take this, my trade, my craft, my instruction is the number one most important thing. So I think that is kind of a flaw that we have with this format.
Yeah.
Okay, Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
unfortunately, I can't see, or I printed what, was available to me, that, was sent, and I don't see any of that data that he's making reference to, or the survey.
Are
And
you able
so,
to share it, Dr. Martin?
I don't know if you can put it up on the screen so I can see it, but the last thing I showed that I got was the demographic cohort rates. And then something that says, please select your ethnicity for the following options.
That's the last thing that she could see.
Okay, I've got that.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Thanks, Dr. Martin.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martin.
Well, she's looking at that. On the food service part, are they not eating? Are we running short on food, or what is?
Yeah, so
Or they're just not choosing not to eat the food?
I can tell you what I have heard. So when we brought in these vendors to present to us the food that they could have, they brought, you know, roast chicken and asparagus and mashed potatoes and all of these things, but our students are being fed pizza. So it's one of those things where, like, what we voted on and what we chose is not the same as what is being delivered now. So there are a lot of students that have complained because they basically have the option between pizza and a cheeseburger Monday through Friday, plus one other item. Well, if you're burnt out from a cheeseburger and you don't like the other item, you might opt not to eat because the food quality is not as it should be. So another complaint that I've heard is we have a fresh fruits and vegetables initiative that we are paying for. And it started off being a little bit more tropical than it is now, because now I believe it's apples and oranges. So what's really nice about the survey that has kind of been born out of the survey, there's a food service survey that is live now. It's asking questions such as, what is your favorite thing that the cafeteria serves? And how satisfied are you with the day-to-day meals? And these are going to our students that have the opportunity to say, hey, our food is no better than it was when we switched. So my lens is a little bit different on this, and you know this if you've worked in business. If I can go buy a good, I can go buy a good straight across the table. If I have to pay somebody to go get a good for me, now I have to pay two people for the same thing. So in my mind, if we have the capability and the ability to satisfy our students' need in-house, I think that there is a budget advantage of doing so.
I would also like to comment on that. I had brought this up several months ago, or a lot of months ago, about things that were happening with the SFE program and the actual cafeteria. And if Mr. Ron and Dr. Guy will know, is that every year it seemed our kitchen budget was always well stocked, and they hardly ever ran out of money or ran out of food items. It was just not until we brought in SFE, and then all of a sudden the quality of the fruit went down. They were told they didn't have any more money to buy the kind of fruit they had at the beginning, like the peaches and the strawberries, and the kids were eating mostly the salad bar, which already existed before SFE came in. And so I myself went through the cafeteria one time and I looked at the food that they were having to prepare. I wouldn't even eat it. And I remember at one NSBA conference in Albuquerque, the current or the new the Secretary of Education said she wouldn't eat it. And she had gone to several schools in Albuquerque. And so she just couldn't see how we could feed that to our students. And so I think there's been a real displacement or from SFE of the quality of the food as well as the service. And I, for one, went to Laguna Acoma High School and we had cooks. We had home cooked meals that we went back for seconds for. And when I got on the school board, it stayed within that same capacity. And then when we moved over to SFE, the desire to eat in the cafeteria really decreased month by month. My husband used to see the kids at the marketplace in Laguna picking up burritos and stuff to eat for breakfast and for lunch because they couldn't stand the food in the cafeteria. And the cost is actually of personnel is even more extraneous than it used to be before. And so I just don't see, I agree, there's just not any advantage, more disadvantages of having this processed food come in. And I'll tell you this much, what I saw when I went there for lunch, I wouldn't eat it either. So I think we need to reconsider. I think last time we voted was SFE or just 1 year, an additional year. And I think we've reached that limit and that we need to consider what our students' needs are, what I mean, I'm pretty sure some of them don't get home cooked meals like they used to at the school, but I would rather have home cooked meals than warm up chicken patties and warm up pizza. I mean, I know they make the pizza, but it's just, I would like us to consider going back where the costs are so extravagant and we again run out of money. All the years I've been on the school board, the kitchen staff's budget never ran out of money. And I think Ron and Dr. Guy can attest to that. In fact, we used to kind of get downplayed by the finance committee because our cafeteria budget always had lots of money left over. And they couldn't use it for like raises for the cooks or additional stuff. It had to be spent according to the categories in the USDA. So that's my feeling on the SFE or any food processing that we're doing. Let's go back to home cooked meals. I think the kids will like that better. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Mrs. Hunt Daly, I'll be presenting the data from the most recent survey. I put a food service survey out last week. Dr. Martin is helping me circulate it on social media, so I'll have that data for you guys, and then we'll talk about the SFE contract.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Anything else at this time about the survey right now?
I don't know how to use it. So we'd have to think about that. We have to come up with a way in which we can utilize these graphs in the development of the budget. So at this point, I would agree with a former colleague of mine. I'm saying that it's kind of difficult to make some critical judgments about that. Are you able to to disaggregate by the type of participant?
Yes, sir.
For instance, just extract teacher and look at the teacher input on
Sure.
staff teacher training. That may give you more insight into, because students are not gonna be concerned with that. The concern is recess.
And lunch.
Lunch,
what I would
apparently,
force.
yeah.
And so,
Well, and some of our teachers don't feel they need more training. They just want to do their jobs. And so
yeah, so,
But at least it would offer a bit of a clearer picture as to the employee responses,
no, it's a
the
different
parent
thing.
responses, and the student responses. So three
And then,
sets probably.
then on food service, I would pull out how the students felt. And well, first of all, I want to know how just the students feel about it. And then.
And that's your
teachers.
data, the next survey, correct?
correct.
Because right now I wouldn't know how to make a decision as to whether or not there's anything, any of this that would impact budgeting allocations. And making decisions on based upon it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm happy to provide feedback 2.0 because each response has their line. So every single response is a unique response. So I can group all of the people that said that they were students. I can group all the people that said that they were teachers, and then we can do other.
Great. I think it would just offer a different perspective on it. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Appreciate that information. Mr. Widener.
Our next item tonight is our school board meeting calendar.
Are you able to share that, Dr. Martin?
Ms. Turley had a situation last week, so I got to be creative and type it up, and I was trying to use artificial intelligence, but I didn't know how to do it right. So I just typed it up. So if you look there at the item, that's our meeting calendar for next year, starting July 1st. So we'll get to have a meeting on July 1st, and then we'll celebrate Independence Day that week. The only change was the election day in November. Election day is November 4th, and some of you will be running for your positions again.
So the only day is, that's the only Thursday of the whole schedule, the rest of our
Correct.
Tuesdays?
Correct. Yes, sir. So that's what I came up with based on what we've always done, and I would recommend that we approve it.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent Widener. Board members, is there a motion to approve the adoption of the 2025-2026 school board meeting calendar?
Is it necessary to have the places on there as well?
If you look at the top right now, following, Mr. Widener, I'm talking on your behalf. I apologize.
Oh,
Is that okay?
It says Earl Travis Boardroom, but I'm talking about the place like at the different schools in Laguna and in Acoma and maybe in Cibola, the land grant areas.
Mrs. Daly, we have talked about having our mobile meetings. Mr. Jones and the technology team has been working on trying to get us some sound and that kind of stuff. So it's very possible that these meetings could be at different sites. And so we could kind of we could probably, in a work session, talk about where we would like to have those. And that,
And Emily, I'm gonna just throw one thing in that Mr. Widener probably isn't thinking of right now, and I'll throw it in. Because of our Open Meetings Act resolution, that resolution states that the meetings are to be held in our Earl Chavis boardroom. And so if we would like to change them, we have the option to change them. But because of the resolution, we have to put on the document the Earl Chavis boardroom. But that does not mean that we can't move to a different location. But per the resolution, that's why it's on the calendar that way. I apologize for.
no, and that's kind of based on what it was last year, and it just says that this is your school board room. So, but there would be no problem with us choosing other locations.
Just like we had our work session at Cabero.
Correct.
Okay, I understand that, however, in past years, we've always had it where, because this made it, convenient for the outside, people wanted to attend, that they knew where it was going to be, especially the, tribal, governments, they could, again, set aside, and look at their calendar, and if they knew, offhand where it was gonna be held, they could adjust their calendar to that. And so that's why in past years, we've always included the place, added time for the communities to get their meeting house or meeting place together. And people, put out the announcement, and more people then would show up than they show up now when we have the meetings here. So I just think it's advertisement friendly, and we want as many people as we can to attend our board meetings so we can get input and feedback all the time. So if there's a possibility, and I understand the resolution, but we've done it. Somebody always says this, we've done it in the past, so I don't know why we can't still keep doing it. We've gotten that kind of thrown out there at us several times, so let's make it an effort to see if we can identify those places as soon as possible, so we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
get the word out. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am, because we're gonna be, in the next month or so, we're going to have to adopt our resolution for the next school year. And hopefully we will be able to have at that time, locations to be able to put into the resolution.
And that will be when?
I believe we either do that June or July. So that'll be the OMA resolution adoption. I think it was in July last year that we adopted. So that will be coming up in either June or the first or second meeting in July.
Okay,
I'd
so
have to look.
we can get it in there.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Jones and and Isaac and technology, they're working very hard to find the right system that we can use to broadcast and have microphones and that kind of stuff. So we truly are, we're closer to being we're closer to being mobile than we have been.
Yeah, I just don't want that to be something that the different communities, land grants, pueblos, find fault with us for that. So we just need to be as open and as reasonable as possible. Thank you.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, let's do it.
I agree. All right, at this time, I will ask, is there a motion to approve? I have to restate it, Walter. Is there a motion to approve the 2025-2026 school board meeting calendar?
So moved.
Thank you, Emily. Is there a second?
Second with those conversations
Noted.
quoted in the minutes for our record.
Yes.
So, we're talking. Thank you.
It has been moved by Ms. Hunt Daly and seconded by Dr. Archambault to approve the 2025-2026 school board meeting calendar, making note of the OMA resolution adoption happening later this year. Any further discussion, board members? Hearing none, we shall proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Turley, please.
Dr. Shambo,
Yes.
Ms. Hunt Daly,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee.
Aye, the motion carries. Mr. Weidner.
Our final presentation tonight, because we have removed item F, will be Mrs. Jones. She is, as you all probably know, historically, we always celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week this week. It's National Teacher Appreciation Week. With the 180-day calendar and all of that, we couldn't afford to take the day out this year without students. And so we will be celebrating our staff appreciation items at sites on the 27th. So students will be released, we'll have Memorial Day, and then we'll come back and celebrate our staff. And so Mrs. Jones is going to tell you about our gala. We are planning our second staff appreciation gala on May 27th.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. If you have not yet, you will soon be receiving your invitation in the mail to join us for the second annual staff recognition ceremony. So at the event that night, we will, you get your invitation if you will call Ms. Ronalda Shorty, RSVP to her. You can bring a +1 with you. We will be serving dinner that night and we will be recognizing staff members for their little milestones of 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 25, 30 if we have them, 35 if we have them, and then the retirees as well. So we will have all of those recognitions that night along with dinner. There will be some little photo booth opportunities set up. The HR department will be decorating. The event will be held at the Knights of Columbus. It will be May 27th at 6 o'clock in the evening. And we would love for you to be there to join us that night to see all of the wonderful employees that we have and the awards that they are getting, those that have stuck it out with us for lots of years. If you have questions about that event, I will answer what I can. If not, if you haven't got this in the mail, please watch for it. If you haven't got it and you would like to RSVP, you can call Ronalda. It's 285-2619 if you didn't get your invitation yet, because I didn't get mine yet. But anyway, any questions?
The theme is denim and diamonds, so wear your boots and your jeans and
Or your ball gown and your boots, whatever you.
yeah, your sparkly diamonds and boots.
Guys getting ready. I could see the
He's
sparkle.
shopping online for his outfit right now.
We're gonna have barbecue, Dr. Guy.
Yes, we have chosen a vendor for the dinner. It has come in under budget, which is making it a happy occasion because there were some quotes that were very far over budget, so we've been able to narrow that down. So we look forward to being able to recognize our staff. Any questions?
It's not SFE, is it?
No.
It's not SFE, is it?
No, ma'am.
Not.
And we have sponsors that are gonna sponsor the meal and surprises, and so
Yes,
it'll be a great time.
the staff really enjoyed it last year from what I.
We'll have a DJ.
27th.
Sure.
Mrs. John.
Is that my plus one?
Yes.
That's your plus one. Yes. We'll make him work when he's not at work.
Very good.
Maybe Mr.
All
Jones.
right. Next, we will move on to our consent agenda. Bills and expenditures report for April 2025. Superintendent Weiner.
I recommend that we do approve the bills and expenditures report for April. And pay the bills.
Excellent. Board members, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed?
Second.
Excellent. It has been moved by Mr. Jaramillo and seconded by Mr. Ortiz to approve the consent agenda as listed, including the bills and expenditures report for April 2025. We shall proceed to the roll call vote. Mrs. Turley, please.
Dr. Ashambo,
Yes.
Miss Hunt Daily,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Lee.
Aye, the motion carries. Next is all you, sir.
The superintendent's report, Mr. Jaramillo, I can keep it short. We probably want to talk a little bit about the Title VI part, but I can keep it pretty short. Item A, I wanted to let you know that Dr. Martin and I have been working very hard to get our online students back to the school district. We had a number of students who opted to go to other schools and because we didn't have an online option. So Dr. Martin and I have worked very hard to facilitate a partnership with the PECO Cyber Academy. PECO Cyber Academy is a state-funded charter school that has lots and lots of students. And they have teachers online that work for them. They have agreed to partner with us. We pay tuition for our students to attend there. So let's say that we've lost a student and they've gone to, there's a school in our neighboring district that is an online school. And so we've lost students there. And if the students come back to us, we get the SEG money. And so they're back, they're a student in GCCS, and then we pay the tuition for them to go to PECO Cyber. It's a portion of the funds. And so we get those students back. And since I've been the superintendent, we've had at least 60 of our students that have opted to go online. After the pandemic, students aren't sure that they want to be back in traditional school. And so the PECO Cyber Academy GCCS partnership is a really good thing for helping us to get our kids back. Hopefully not all of our students decide that they want to be online, but we want to. Dr. Martin and I met with the registrars last week and talked to them about how they could bring those students back. So there's the information on that. The second item is the Cook Center Human Connection Partnership. What this is a federal grant for mental health. It's mental health and suicide prevention. And so what this partnership is, there were about 20 school districts in the state of New Mexico that partnered with the Cook Center. And what they do through this grant, it's a federal grant, and what they do is they provide mental health counselors to help students. Their goal is to eradicate suicide and depression. And so it's a good partnership. It doesn't cost us anything. And they will help us with counselors and call lines and that information. And then finally, as you know, on the federal level, there's been a lot of talk about changes and changes going away from DEI. And so that came to New Mexico. It came to the New Mexico PED. And 2 weeks ago, the Secretary of Education and the staff at PED were asking school districts to agree that we will change with the federal changes. And so every superintendent had to sign to a compliance piece with the PED that we we would no longer be using or using the word DEI or, yeah, DEI in our schools. And so, so we did sign that and had to sign that. And, I know the NMSBA, sent you information. And so, that's kind of the third issue, and Dr. Archambault felt like we should probably talk about that at least.
Well, I know that that's kind of, and, so that's not quite what I understood from the beginning. So explain what the wind was conveying to the board in terms of the options.
There's gonna be lots of lawsuits and litigation. And the Superintendent's Association, all superintendents had to assign it. And Dr. Martin was actually, I was out, I don't know where I was out of town that day. And they were pressuring Dr. Martin to get my signature. And so, but there will be lots of litigation coming out of this, and I think there's some stuff.
I may add.
Yes, sir.
Madam President. So the two options they gave us, when I read the email to the board members. The two acceptable options is either to sign or to agree with the state, which is pretty much in line with what's in the letter that they're asking to sign. Anyway, so I think the consequence of not doing so is
we wouldn't get our
not getting the Title VI funding.
So
something of that sort.
There is a federal ruling that has stated that that should not occur at this point. So we need to be careful about what it is that we're saying here. The federal government has a form, and I don't know whether you already signed it. So I'm looking at this one here. Is this the form? Is it the requested certification?
Yes.
I acknowledge I received and reviewed this reminder due to obligation of taking an exchange for federal. And is that what was signed? Well, it's all right, but I'm trying to find the, I don't think you should have signed it. I think it's actually, the board responsibility, the board decision. And it's yours, and I know what happened. Pressure was put on by the president, who ordered the U.S. Department of Education and the Office of Civil Rights, the Title VI portion of it, and wanted all the schools throughout the country to comply with not providing any kinds of instruction that related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And throughout the country, all school districts were given that short time frame to do that. In Arizona, the same thing occurred. In Arizona, there were a number of school districts that refused to do that. In the meantime, there was some litigation that occurred that put a stop to that. And so this is all in abeyance. The letter from Joe Gilliam stated that there were two options. One was to forward the letter to OCR and state that your district adopts the state's position. That's the one that I said we should do. Option two, sign and submit the Title VI certification letter provided by OCR directly to OCR government. Either one is acceptable. And that's what I'm saying. And so you were not there, you was trying to figure out, so I'm asking you, which one did you sign? Did you sign the Title VI certification letter provided by the federal government to say we will not do that? Because if you did that, then that has implications for not only that, to our school calendar, but also for our strategic plan and what it says in it right now. So I'm not sure which ones at the superintendent's meeting was recommended to be signed.
It wasn't even in the superintendent's meeting, they just emailed everyone.
Yeah, and they asked us to sign it.
Yeah.
The email came from whom?
Secretary of Education.
Okay, and this must be the one that I'm seeing.
Correct.
It says here. And this is from.
And kind of like you were just mentioning Arizona, we will have litigation and there will be.
Well, the litigation has already begun.
Yeah.
And the most recent litigation was by a federal court that said, no, you can't do that. Okay. Now, I'm just trying to make sure the board understands what this is all about. And I can only do that by referencing back what the Secretary of Education for New Mexico stated. And he said that the U.S. Department of Education is asking all school districts to certify they do not discriminate based on race, color, or national origin. Something already required under Title VI in our existing federal funding agreements. So we're saying we already are supposed to not do that.
Correct.
And PED has submitted a formal response on behalf of the state affirming that we are doing it. The department also raised concerns about the vague language in the federal request and the lack of formal rulemaking process. And so that's what we need to know as a board. That's why I said we may need to get some legal discussion on that to determine what is truly this district's position on that. The date is already gone. It's already whatever that date was last week.
It was 2 weeks ago, I think,
yeah. So it already happened.
23rd.
And so what I'm saying to you is that I think that it is something that the board
needs to talk about.
Be in sync with. And so that's something that we needed to have discussed. I don't know how we do that, especially since I'm not sure which of the form you signed or someone signed. Which one did you guys sign? Did you sign the federal compliance form?
Yes. Yeah, that was the one we signed. And that was the one that went to all school districts. And so that was the one that we signed. I would recommend that probably you talk with the board's legal
counsel district to find out.
Just to find out, because all school districts were signing it. So. And that was kind of. When we had the budget meeting, they had there was a whole lot of talk about what are you gonna do? What are you gonna, and the secretary spoke to us about it. She said, well, we'll decide what we're gonna do as a state. So this is what came out of that. but I don't know, and if Joe thinks otherwise, I mean, we probably should you should talk with board legals and get her input. I would.
Well, it's so important that a lot of school districts did discuss this with their boards and
Yeah.
make decisions.
Yeah.
But it was so quick
It was
throughout.
2 days.
It was like
Yeah.
within,
Was to almost the same day.
Yeah.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
my concern is that this is in violation of the existing rules that existed with Title VI. And as we have stated, as Mariana has stated, is that we are already doing that. And the reason this is, the pressure is being placed upon school districts is saying that we are not. Basically, the only conclusion one could have is that they must, the U.S. Department of Education and the president must consider that we are discriminating against a certain population. Or are favoring other populations at the expense of someone else. We're not saying that. So in the end, what is it that we are going to do differently from here on out? So in order to get federal funds, which we get a lot, what are we going to do differently? And that's the concern I have, is that in our district, we already have plans, initiatives, the state already has its approaches. We already speak about equity, diversity, inclusion, and all aspects of what we do in the state of New Mexico. In order to address longstanding inequities, disparities, one of them being the Yazzie Martinez ruling that said that there has been serious underachievement by certain populations of the state of New Mexico that deserve, and just recently, the state courts have said that.
Mhm.
So we're finding our district to be saying that we may need to no longer address issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, when in reality, we must do so. So I think we need to have some discussion about that and determine. I want to know, as an individual board member, what is the position of this board with respect to the federal government's current efforts to force us to adhere to their interpretation of what is the rules of Title VI and the possible consequence of the loss of federal funds in the event we violate that agreement that you signed. And I think our stakeholder groups need to know that. I think our tribes need to know that we have signed off on a commitment to comply with what the federal government has wanted us to do, which is to go along with whatever they say is the correct approach, which could be the elimination of diversity and equity and inclusion in the state of New Mexico. It was a unfortunate pressure tactic that school administrations throughout the state were compelled to respond to. I don't know whether any boards had an opportunity to engage in discussions about that and have legal discussions with their attorneys with respect to that. I feel so strongly for it that this is the first time that I've heard that any efforts by the current administration of President exerting its will on local schools. This is supposed, education only gets in the state of Mexico about 13% of funding from the federal government. So they're wielding that threat on us. That's why I say that we need to bring this up and we need to have, and I want us to have an opportunity for our legal counsel to walk us through this. Give us an idea of where we're at on this. And what action can we take? And what are the consequences, the implications for our district? And that's a serious concern. Thank you.
My question is, can we afford to not have any federal funding? Like you said, there's only 13%. Can the state afford to continue with working with diversity, you know, all the stuff that you're talking about without that federal funding? If we go against them, we could probably make it.
That's something we want to discuss.
Well, and I think the reality of our district is that whether we're calling it DEI or, you know, being culturally responsive and receptive, that I don't think at the core of our district can, will, or should ever change, because the inherent numbers of the population, period, you know, dictates that, you know, we are diverse and we are inclusive, and that's something that I think has been woven into the district, you know, and I know Guy and Emily and Ron would speak to that being a part of the fabric of, you know, as Guy said, the strategic plan, but how this district operates, period. You know, and so I think Guy is correct. We need to have our attorney walk us through what is going on. And I think that Yazi Martinez, that's something that we all are very aware of and have been having a lot of conversations about. And so I think this information, without a doubt, it was shoved very quickly, rapidly, here you have to kind of situation. And I don't think that there was much time for
other boards.
Well, anybody,
right,
anybody,
right.
period.
Board meetings, cause it was
Period,
kind of,
because
it was kind of
a-
at the end of the month.
It was a
And-
two, yeah, it was a 2 or
If you
3 day
happen to have a board
turnaround.
meeting or schedule, you might.
You might have been lucky, but
Yeah, it said you could
it's,
do an emergency, yeah.
And it was kind of the week after.
it was everything all at once. It
Yeah,
was a
so
lot, but I think
you need to, I think the district needs to have a position on this that, then work out with the council as to how what transpired.
well, and I think they'll have the legal
And so,
side of it to advise.
Yeah, and that means that basically the administration acted independently of the board throughout the state in trying to
Well, and
respond to this, and we are
Yeah.
going to seek legal guidance as to its
Yeah.
implications.
very much so.
Is that-
Well,
is that
well
what
said,
we
sir.
can-
Yeah, well said, sir. I think that
What-
wraps
what
us
I-
up.
What I would recommend too is we can have Roxy come and
Well, we'll talk about how we're gonna go about that. I'll talk with the board and yes,
Thank you.
very good.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Announcements, sir,
I'll go real quick, Mr. Jaramillo.
because
Uh,
we'll
May
get
9th,
you to,
We have the early college graduation at
There's a
10
bunch of
a.m.
them.
May 16th, we have Grants High School graduation at 6 p.m. May 17th, Laguna Acoma High School graduation at 9 a.m., Dr. Guy. May 23rd is the end of the spring semester. And again, we'll be celebrating our staff on May 27th after Memorial Day. I'll move on with the future agenda items.
yes, please, sir.
We definitely want to have a follow-up to the conversation we just had. We do need to talk about the early college high school lease for the 25-26 year. We will have more conversations about budget, and I think Mr. Jones is gonna break the data down a little more for us, and so we'll have some more data next time. New Mexico State University Grants will be presenting their 25-26 budget. We're hoping at our next meeting. Dr. Martin will probably have some really good end of year data for us coming up very soon. And we're hoping that we see lots of positive and I think green and blue are the colors you want, right, Dr. Martin? We want green and blue data. Mrs. Jones will come and help us with staffing and tell us what's going on there. She's getting to do the staffing right now, so she'll tell you about that. PSFA, we have several projects going on. We're still in the heat of the Mesa View project and it's back on track. And so we'll be talking about that and the other projects that we have going. We will talk about safety and security at a future meeting. We talked about the coins, the challenge coins. And so Mr. Hawker will come in and share information with you on that. We are looking at AVID as a program district-wide. Several of our schools want to implement AVID. And so right now GHS has an AVID program, but we're looking to expand that in some of our other schools. I doubled some of those on there.
I think
Yep.
Yep.
We do have bleachers out here that we need to refurbish, revamp. And they were, as you all know, they were donated to us by the Zuni School District. And so we do want to refresh those bleachers. Mrs. Hunt Daly, we're gonna talk about SFE and we're gonna talk about the nutrition survey and the student information. And that'll be coming up. You are correct. We did the SFE contract from year to year, so we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about ESS, which is our substitute system, and an update of all of the projects that we have going on.
We did kind of double up on
I
those,
did,
didn't
I
we?
did.
I didn't notice it either.
Yeah. We were being
have a
very
few
redundant.
alphabet letters left, so.
Yeah,
Right?
we could keep going.
Um,
Anything else, board members?
Madam President, B and the budget presentation. It's important, I believe, for the board to have a comparison of allocations for different categories of the budget. And we know what the budget looks like. It's basically laid out, Excel plan, it's got all the different line item accounts. But I think it's important for the board to know how much money we're spending in different categories. And that would require us to do an analysis. And I may be able to explain it, how to do it more succinctly, okay? And I'll send something to you. But I think I hope it'll be easy to do. But for instance, what percent of our funds are going to construction? And what percent of our funds are going to
Transportation.
maintenance? Sure. So that we become much more understanding of what where the much money is going, how much money is spent on health, security, what percent of the budget is spent on central administration costs, technology. Now, you will say, well, there's all kinds of money. But typically what we're talking about are those that come from the operational funds, those categories. You may be able to distinguish those that come from other funding. But bottom line is, when we get the SEG, that's what we're talking about, is how are we utilizing those funds, because I think the public wants us to make sure that that we channel most of our funds towards teaching and learning, towards instruction, towards teachers, towards programs. And if we decide we're going to add 20 more maintenance people, they might say, well, maybe not. Or then or me as a board member say, we may not be able to afford that. We don't know. What if we find out we're gonna lose federal funds? Well, I'm just saying, in this uncertain world, we need to know how much. And what, in a comparison between this year, next, and this current year and this coming year. On IMASA and NMASA, one of the things we don't disaggregate is NMASA. We don't disaggregate by tribe. I don't think, no, we don't. I'm just thinking to myself, no, we don't. I think I don't recall whether we disaggregate by ethnicity. I don't recall that. But
We do by subgroups, and so
I don't think we do it by tribe.
You're right.
So that is doable. Just need to discuss that internally. You see how that can be played out. That was one of the critical issues that was brought up by the tribes, is that they do not know how well their students do. Correct. Not individually, but as a whole aggregate.
Would you include that in a?
It's gonna be short.
That,
And
well,
Dr.
but
Guy,
it would be great, because I think that if you could clearly state how seeing the data would make the most sense, I think Dr. Martin and his team have,
They can take that in.
well, and I
And
think
that's
that
our
they
goal,
have done such a
Dr.
good
Guy.
job.
We
But
had a
our
really good meeting
input
with.
is what they would like to know, so that they can prepare it the best, for us to all view it. So
We had a really good meeting with Miss Katie M. Wanico.
can we
Juanito.
really quickly? They want to make it to
Sure.
senior mass, and then we could continue the
Yes,
conversation for a second.
Sure.
we
Would
can
that
do that at a later date. Come on, guys, let's go.
Right? Okay,
I recommend that we adjourn this meeting.
Well, I have one, when I went to the FFA and they gave the schools an appreciation award. I don't know if I give it to you or I give it to the president.
I think that's for you to keep, sir.
Oh, no, it's for the
It's
Cibola
for the
County schools.
schools.
I
To the
just went up
superintendent.
We'll
there
get
and
a frame for it. We'll put it up
Nice,
here.
very good.
We have a motion on the table.
I just went and got
I
it. 'cause
second.
I was
Okay.
There that represented us.
Is there a motion to adjourn
So
the
moved,
meeting as amended?
so moved.
Second. By Walter. It has been moved by Ms. Hunt Daly and seconded by Mr. Amio to adjourn the meeting as amended. Mrs. Turley, roll call, please.
Dr. Ashambo?
Yes.
Ms. Hunt Daily?
Yes, yes, yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz? Ms. Lee?
Aye, motion carries. The board has adjourned at 7:21 PM. Will you?